In these times of uncertainty, it's all the more important that we keep collaborating, informing, and inspiring each other, so that we can be smarter and better tomorrow. Welcome to the Pakhuis de Zwijger livecast.
Hello, good day, and I would like to welcome you. My name is Jennifer, and thank you for tuning in our next episode of Infected Cities Making Social Impact in... Today we're going to Paris. This program is created by Pakhuis de Zwijger and Dutch Culture, and it's like number 11 in the series of Infected Cities. But in this series, this is number 1, where we zoom in cities in Europe. Because of the pandemic, we cannot travel all over the world to other people, but we want to stay connected and informed with each other how everybody is doing and dealing with the pandemic. So hence this beautiful program where Pakhuis and Dutch Culture got together and searched for different city makers and to see how they are doing. And we're talking to artists, journalists, storytellers. How are they dealing with the pandemic, and how can we inspire each other? How are we inspiring each other to keep continuing and going on? It's a very mouthful. I'm here today in the studio. I have a lot of guests via Zoom, but I have one guest here today. That is my sidekick in the studio, Laurence Aegerte. I practice on that one.
Very good, very
Visual artist, and you are here with me today in the studio.
I'm happy.
I'm happy you're here also. So how are you doing? First and foremost, how are you?
I'm doing very fine. It has been a very, very busy year. We will come back to that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the Christmas holidays, to be honest. But very alive and kicking for now.
That's good, but because there has indeed been a lot going on, but you're looking forward to the holidays because of rest, or just because still the holiday feeling is the holiday feeling?
Yeah, just for rest and be with family. Just to recenter. I've been moving so much.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
And moving a lot because we're going to zoom in today on Paris, moving a lot between Paris and Amsterdam.
As well, and other places, Paris and other places for the production of my exhibition.
But we'll get to that later. Good. But thank you for being here with me in the studio. All right, for the current situation in Paris, first I will talk to two guests via Zoom. There has been a lot happening in Paris, of course, the last few months, but also we would like to know what's happening today. Via Zoom, I have Cécile Maisonneuve. I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. She's chairman of Fabrique de la Cité.
Hello.
Hello, Cécile.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. I've been practicing, and this one is very difficult for me. Marijn Kruk. He is Dutch correspondent for the Groene Amsterdammer, Trouw, and the correspondent in France Paris. Hello.
Hi there.
How is everybody feeling? You're both feeling good?
Absolutely.
Very well, thank you.
Yes, because for a quick zoom in on the situation there in Paris, could you, and I'm going to start with Cécile, could you tell us a little bit about the consequences? We're going to go right deep into it. Social and economic consequences of the pandemic in Paris. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. I would like to highlight 3 consequences. First, very recently, I think 3 days ago, the Oxford Economics ranked French economy among the 10 most vulnerable economies in the world to COVID-19. Why is that? Because of the share of tourism in our economy, the share of aeronautics, and the share of luxury goods, especially with Asia. So it is why French GDP is going to decrease nearly 10%, and the Paris region represents about 30% of French GDP. So we'll see a huge rise of unemployment in the coming coming month for sure. And my point regarding Paris is that, as we know, metropolises already concentrate the highest and the richest people, the richest people and the poorest one. So this is going to increase this discrepancy for sure. And what we could see there is an intensification of the gentrification of Paris.
Yes.
So it will accelerate a pre-existing trend where you see more and more middle-class people who can't live anymore in Paris intramuros and have to go
outside,
very
of
often
course.
second round. So this will be, I think, from the urban point of view, something we're going to attend. At the same time, maybe the fact that Paris, it was already losing some inhabitants, people, the population was decreasing, and maybe it will accelerate. So we recently made a poll about what French people have in mind. Do they want to still live there where they live or to go elsewhere?
Yeah.
So on the average, 20% of French people say, okay, I would like to move after the crisis. But when it comes to people from Paris, they say 36% of them want to move.
Out of Paris.
Out of Paris, and we are starting to see in the cities around the Paris region what I would call the cathedral cities, Rouen, Chartres, Orléans. There is a beginning of increasing of a real estate movement from Paris. So we'll see in the coming months if people are really moving there, definitely, or if they are buying a second apartment. We'll see, but that's interesting to see.
And is it because they're like, okay, we cannot afford to live here anymore? Or is it because they feel it is too crowded? Because we're kind of getting scared of it being too crowded, right?
Yeah, I think it's both, but you're right to point out the role of density, or what I would call the perceived density. And if we could show the first one slide I wanted to share with you.
Yeah.
So you see there are two maps of density in the Paris region, and you see that the eastern part of Paris region is much more dense than the western part, which is the wealthiest. And it's a bit like in London, the eastern part, which is poorer than the westerner. And you see also a map of over mortality because of COVID. And density is not responsible for over mortality, not density of inhabitants. It's the way you manage density, and especially density of social contacts. And this has much more to do with poor quality housing, overpopulated housing. And from that point of view, the district of Seine-Saint-Denis near Paris, which is a poorest district in France, was really harshly hit by the pandemics, much more than Paris intramuros, though less dense than Paris. So it will be interesting in the coming months to have this debate over density, because at the same time, people who want to build, I would say, a greener environment say, let's build more dense so that we don't sprawl our cities. But at the same time, people say, no, I don't want density. Density is dangerous. So we have there a discrepancy between perception and reality, which we have to work on, I think.
Wow, it's very exciting indeed. And Marijn, what are you especially seeing as consequences?
Well, maybe I think Cecile, she really gave a really complete picture of what's going on. But I just only want to add that that this COVID crisis adds up to some major developments which set back Paris for the last couple of years. Because, of course, in 2015, we had the attacks, first in Charlie Hebdo and then the Bataclan.
Yeah.
And then in 2000, and that created a lot of tension also. And it was also really bad for tourism, of course. But
Absolutely.
also it created a sort of sense of anxiety in the city. And this sentiment was sort of continued with the Gilets jaunes when they came to the city. And it was really... a whole year long, there were really violent demonstrations with the demonstrators and the police. Really violent confrontations, and so this also created a sort of confrontational sentiment feeling in the city, and also I think that a lot of tourists also stayed away from this. So it really adds up to a sort of whole years of like difficulty for the city actually.
Yeah. Tension being built up, and I see you, Laurence. You're here. As you're hearing this, do you recognize what's being said? Have you experienced that also?
You know, I'm living in Amsterdam most of the time.
Okay.
But I live in Marseille about a quarter to a third of the time. And of course, I'm following the French news. But indeed, I think France has been hurt really, really badly lately. Mm-hmm. Really hard time as a total nation to recover from. Oof. And that on the top, this COVID.
This pandemic, I mean, there would never be a good time for a pandemic, I guess. But and in when we're talking about like Amsterdam and Paris, the biggest differences are they visible for you? What do we need to talk about?
Yeah, well, I think there's a big difference, but it's also, I think, an expression of a really big, say, cultural difference, or the way the state is organized in Holland. Or in France, of course, it's a much more heavy-handed, repressive way of like attacking the crisis, and it really showed like during the first lockdown. Yeah. Now we are in the second lockdown, also in Paris, but it's much more cool. I've been walking the city, I've been cycling the city, but I've never been. I never ran into a police control one single time for 1 month. So now it's a much more loose situation, but the first lockdown was really like there were like a lot of just 1 million fines. There were
wow, really?
Yes, and so you have this whole idea of a sort of repressive state, which sort of which sort of decrees what's going to happen, and people tend to listen to it, or they don't tend to listen to it, and then you get a really violent contra reaction. So that while in Holland there's much more the idea of self-responsibility, which in the end doesn't work that well neither, as we have seen, of course. But but you see a sort of expression of really really different political cultures.
Yeah, political cultures, but also because here, also like you already said, Cécile, tourism is absolutely under heavy pressure, but also the cultural sector. And here, it feels like, how can I say this right? Because of the crisis, in Paris, it is as if they're more reliant on tourism when it comes to the cultural sector. But here, the locals and the nationals are more trying to be involved with saving it for each other. Is it that French don't go to the theater? They're not that involved? What is that difference? How come that's so visible?
Yeah, you're pointing the right thing when speaking about tourism. You know, tourism before the crisis in the Île-de-France region, the Greater Paris area, it was 50 million tourists. 50 million. So we are 12 million people. So they are not coming anymore. So I'm living in a neighborhood in the center of Paris where the loss of revenue is less 90%. I'm living in the Marais area for shops. It's less 90%. So really, it's the very touristic neighborhoods in Paris are terribly hit by the different shocks. And Marijn was very right to remind this series of shocks we've been under for the recent years, which is very, very difficult. So it's not that French people don't want to go to the theater. We would love to go to the theater. We would love to go to cinema, to restaurants and everything. You know, Paris is a city of café, restaurant. We're really missing them. And in all cities, I was yesterday in Toulouse, and I can tell you that our cities don't look like what they should look like because culture is not there anymore. So it's really difficult, but with tourism, the most difficult part, I think, is that we have no visibility because many of these tourists come from Asia And because of the management of the crisis there, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know how they're going to manage the situation. In our democracies, we're saying, okay, we're going to do this and that. But there, you don't know. They're just, they just lock down many things, and you don't really know what happened there or not. So there is no visibility. And from that point of view, it creates more anxiety. Because a difficult situation is one thing, having no visibility on the future is another thing.
Yeah.
And I think behind this difference also Marijn was pointing out between our two countries, there is a question of trust. And a recent studies by Sciences Po, the School of Public Affairs, shows that in terms of distrust to decision makers, to elites, France was in a group of countries where you find the US and Brazil. We are not at the same level as our European neighbors. You're in a group of countries where the level of distrust is extremely high.
Wow, that is
not nice to hear.
No, I just wanted to ask. No, but it's a truth, because what does that say, right?
Yeah, it says that we have already so much anxiety of ourselves, and then on the top of it, I think the media have also a heavy share of responsibility in the story, probably, in building up this anxiety and this distrust to the foreigner. But I'm very sorry to hear. I was not aware of something like that. But,
yeah. Do you agree, Marijn, with what Laurent says?
Oh yes, I definitely agree, and I would like to add that and it comes also from Sciences Po, from the CEVIPOF, which is doing this really long-term surveys, and like this big surveys of like 15,000 people each year and each 5 years. And what you see for over 20 years, there's a lot of anxiety about the future. French people are they don't have confidence in their fellow countrymen, but they don't know. Well, but they don't have confidence in the future of their own country, and so this creates also a lot of anxiety. Well, it creates a lot of anxiety. There's also a lot of distrust into the institutions, into the political elite. I 2 weeks ago I saw a survey in the Figaro which stated that 80% of the people, of the voters, are considering voting for an anti-systemic candidate in 2022. So this really adds to, there's a lot of distrust into the system, but also into their own capacity of changing this situation.
Yeah, because what would be a way to get this distrust? What do we have to address, like today, to get that lowered or going in a better direction? Because, or else it will keep building up. Because if we look at it, the pandemic won't be gone next year in January. Like poof, it's gone. It's here. We have to deal with it. And indeed, on top of that, all that fear that has been built up, all the attacks, all the protests that's been going on, and the dividedness of the people that's getting bigger. So where do we start with this distrust? How do we take that away? Or how do we address it?
The good start is to know that it's going on thanks to this information, and then we know we have to counter-compensate, no?
Yeah.
So something like that. We have to give more trust than we would normally do.
How do we do that? Cécile, can you give us a direction? What would you think?
Yeah, so maybe speaking for my job, but what Marijn pointed out about the hyper-centralization of the management of the crisis really enhances the necessity in France to give more power, to empower people and local governments. We really need to take some fresh air at the local level. People, we also, so a positive note, we also made a poll about people, the way they are living, where they live. Yeah. And on the national level, French people are really pessimistic, we just said it. But on the local level, they say that they are optimistic. They like the place where they live, so except for Paris. But for the rest of France, they think that the situation is better today than 10 years ago. And the Kantar Institute, with which we work, said there are really very little situations in France where people say, oh, it's better than 10 years ago. So this is a very positive element. It means that if we work on the environment where people live, they want nature, they want greener space, they want to have access to services and so on. If we work at this local level and empower people at this level, I think we can move forward to a more, I would say, pacified society, and reconcile with itself. For me, it's really about decentralizing and empowering people.
Okay. So there's... Marijn, please, yes, come.
Now, I just want to add to what Cécile was already saying, because I think she's really right. There's a lot of people, but people like their local community. But the problem in France is that people, where people like to live, there's no work, and where people work, they don't want to live. So that's a big problem in France, actually. So maybe there could be more initiatives to stimulate the local economy, and also to make it more to focus on a sort of more durable economy.
All right. Well, I'm going to thank you for shedding light on this today. Thank you so much for joining us. Please stick around and follow the rest of the program. Because besides talking about the people in the cities, we also like to share inspiring images. And unfortunately, one of the city makers we invited cannot be with us in the program today, but fortunately did make a video message for us. And he is a photojournalist. His name is Mohamed. Oh, I have his last name. I want to say it. Yeah, Mohamed Badra. And he made a video for us. Look with us to this inspiring video message by Mohamed.
My name is Mohamed. I am a photographer. I started working as a photographer from Syria. I study architecture. I stopped my study in architecture university because of the beginning of the war. After that, I started work as a first aider. Then I didn't find myself during this field, so I started to work as a photographer. At the beginning as an amateur photographer, then try to become a professional photographer. That picture means a lot to me. It's for Parisians clipping for essential workers. So my assignment was to picture them, and I need to show Paris inside the picture. So I need to put Eiffel Tower inside the frame, and I need to guess from which window the people will show up. So that took me to Syria when I just have also 2 minutes to take pictures, because in this picture I had 2 minutes to document everything. 2 minutes, the Parisian will go to their window and the clipping and back to their room, to their houses also. And in Syria, I have 2 minutes between the bombing, because they're looking for bombing. So I don't know what it was, but I just have 2 minutes. I just have a chance to take my picture and went directly to my home. So this is the idea, when you feel like you're in a race with the time, or you are running next to the time, you need to catch it. But so this is the problem about a mix, between the moon and the crescent. In Middle East, in Syria, the moon was a symbolic image for Eid or Ramadan. Because they decide the beginning of Eid if they saw the moon in the night before. Also that with Ramadan. So my idea that Paris is an international city, I could find in this city everything. I can find any culture I want. I can, because it's a big city. So I have one night to show Al-Eid, the Eid, in Paris. So it's also when you race with the time, because here I have an Eiffel Tower, I have a moon, I need to find an idea to show that to the people. It was very difficult that time to go to, Amusement Park to make picture for the stereotype of Eid. But here you will see a new picture for Paris, a new picture for Eid, a new picture for this mixing. So I like it, and it gives me the feeling that, you know, all the time I couldn't escape from running out to Syria and back to now. So yeah. Yeah, the story behind this picture, it's the protesters, you know, exist everywhere. And, you know, the protesters use a language to talk with the people. And we are a photographer, we need to catch the language. They use it to talk with the universe. So first idea that when they, you know, make like this, you know, I'm just thinking what the protester want to say by this. And also that took me to another picture when the protester make like this. So it's like he push them, you know, push something. But after that, I discovered that he almost arrested the police by his hand. So, you know, the symbolic idea from the picture appear like this. So because each time the police arrested the protester, but now we have the opposite. We have a protester arrested the police by his shadow. And, you know, he's without any shield, without a helmet, without a weapon, without anything. He just used his mouth. And, you know, they gathering their shield together. So I like how the light helped me to show this idea. You know, even the protester didn't know that he make like this. So I like this picture. It means a lot to me. It means like so much you don't know how valuable you are or the power you have. You couldn't notice it. Mm-hmm. Those buildings, they are very famous in Paris. I'm sorry I couldn't say the name. It's very difficult for me. But here, there is a Bastille Day. There was the Bastille Day. I should make a picture for the rehearsal for celebrating. So I saw the helicopters, I saw airstrikes in the sky. They fly over Paris, the Parisians say hi, the Parisians make, you know, they are celebrating, but that, you know, give me like a hint. And I got frozen for a moment. So, okay, when I was in Syria, when I was watching to this stuff, I need to go out and run out and hide inside a basement or a shelter if I could find a basement or a shelter. Or I don't know what I should do, but, you know, that gives me a mix of feeling, you know, people celebrating. But when I use it to look at this stuff, I use it to run away. I use it to say silence, but now I see the noise, the good noise for celebration. So, you know, this mix, you know, each time I look at this picture, when I look at the helicopter, you know, this helicopter is a symbol of celebrating, winning, the victory, the, you know, the strength of your nation. But in my city, in my country, it wasn't like this. It's a criminal machine. It's a machine that the criminal use it to destroy us. So I like to talk at this picture. Till this moment, I couldn't forget the noise of her fans, you know, because it's give me this, you know, it's a paradox sometimes, you know, I don't know how to script it, but it's something took me back to Syria to live in that moment. But when I look at this picture, I couldn't stop talking about it and about the feeling that given to me. Taking picture, it's a way to talk with the people around you. Taking picture, it's a process I do every day to remember Syria. Each details I have here in Paris took me back to Syria. I couldn't heal from Syria. Also, I will not heal from Paris in the future. So this mix of feeling, the photography gives to me. And I like photography. It's like breathing for me, because if I couldn't breathe, if I couldn't remember Syria, if I couldn't start to build my memory about Paris, I think I will die. So each person in this universe have a process to breathe, not by his nose or lungs, no, an artistic way. So I use photography to find a way to look at this universe, or to understand it, or to make this contrast feeling. So it's a lifestyle. It's not just a photography or pictures.
Wow. Thank you for the images, Mohammed. I like how he says, breathing in an artistic way. Can you relate to that when he says that?
Sure. Yes. Art is a very great way to process your feelings, to process your all your experiences. So I completely understand. Yeah.
And the contrast, right? We said, wow, how something, because he was talking about the image from the Bastille Day. What is Bastille Day?
It's the day of the 14 Juillet. The 14 Juillet. So it's the French Revolution. So it's kind of a day of freedom, National Freedom Day.
Yeah.
I think it's what he's referring to.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's in France. It's a day of freedom, of joy, of a new start. But yes, for him, it was reminding him oppression and despair. So this paradox is very interesting for him. But indeed, the image. We need his story, him telling us about it, and that's then we see how double images can be. Yeah,
absolutely. Wow, I love it. But we have another amazing artist here on Zoom. And if I'm correct, Blachette, can you hear?
Blachette, yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Illustrator and also a sneaker addict. I see it coming everywhere,
yes.
But we're going to focus especially on your role as an illustrator. Thank you for being in the show with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about, you made a comic book.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. First of all, I'm Blachette, so I'm an illustrator and comic strip artist. I do this job since 2 years. I worked with a brand like Adidas, JD Sport, Roland Garros. During the first lockdown, I worked on my comic book with journalist Rokhaya Diallo called M'explique pas la vie, mec. Means in English, don't explain the life, man.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the three main points on this book is mansplaining, mentoring, and manspreading. So to explain, manspreading is a pejorative term meaning of man to comment on or explain something to a woman. You know.
Yes.
Mentoring is unnecessary interruption of a woman by man, like this picture. Voilà. Sorry for my English.
No, it's okay.
And manspreading is the practice of some men citing in the public take a place, you know?
Yeah. So
there's the three men of this book. I don't.
No, and because this book was it was the idea born during the lockdown or did it come out then?
Sorry.
Was this idea of this book was it during the pandemic? Did you have the time to make this? Did it come out?
Yeah. My artistic creation wasn't much affected by the coronavirus. During the first lockdown, I focused on creating my comic book, and this comic book was a successful.
Yeah.
Success, yes.
Successful,
because, yes. In fact, they are so popular. The book. So popular women recognize themselves in the situation illustrated in the strip. Is the first comic book combining illustration with practical tips for women on how to speak up and take their place in the society.
Oh, so it's not just only comics, but it's also a way to give tools to speak up and claim your space within mansplaining and whatnot, stuff like that.
Yeah. In this book, there are a lot of tips for women. There are a situation with illustration, you know, like the
that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and there are tips to how women
handle
can.
it.
Yes.
Nice. And is it also because my French is très terrible? I can understand it a little bit, but
No
reading.
problem.
But is it also like? Can we also get these in English translated, or is that a future plan that is maybe coming?
Yes.
Nice.
With Hachette is on my edition. Maison d'édition.
The publisher?
I don't know
Publishing
the
house.
translate.
Yeah, the publishing house.
Yeah. It's a program. It's a program. Yes, for the future. To translate in English and other language too.
Okay, so there might even be a Dutch version, I hope. I don't know. English is fine. English, the English version is fine. But it's being perceived very well and popular. And was that always, was that your goal, right? So I'm an illustrator, but I also want to combine it with this is what's happening and this is my, let's say, bijdrage.
My participation.
My participation into stopping these problems, stopping the ignorance, for instance, mansplaining. What are we going to do about it? I'll give you this tool to use it also. Was that always your intent with making this book?
The mansplaining is behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
And sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I think I also made it into a very difficult question because I'm just super excited. Only I can't.
No,
I'm gonna ask
the
Laurence to.
reactions are very positive for women. Read this book, and men too react well and say that it makes them more alert and conscious about their behaviors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's a book for all people, women and men.
Yeah.
Because women, we know this subject, but we don't have word about this,
Yeah. How do we address it, or what can we do about it?
Yeah.
And this is a very good tool, but also in a very fun way. Illustrated in how we're gonna tackle this and stop the nonsense.
Yes.
But thank you. I'm gonna thank you for this book, and especially that it's such a success that it will be translated to. And is there also, when it's translated, will you make another one? A part 2? Will you make a part 2?
Maybe.
Maybe. We heard it here. If you do, please let us know so we can ask you again
So
to tell us.
I can send you the book. It's a pleasure.
Oh, you heard that? Of course.
Good.
I write to Yasmin to have your address, and I send you the book for the pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
You're
Brigitte.
welcome.
Thank you. I'll share it with you because you
With
help
pleasure.
me.
Yeah,
Yes, of
sure.
course. Whew. I'm excited. Yes?
Good.
Okay,
Yes,
very
sure.
good. You're still going good?
I'm doing perfect. Thank you very much. I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to discover all this
Right?
artists, creativity, journalists. It's very good.
And that's the nice thing about this program, because indeed, when you stop traveling physically, how do we stay connected with each other? And how do we keep inspiring each other and indeed not getting lost in everything being scary and everything being heavy, but keep each other informed, inspired, updated about, okay, but this is also happening, and here we're moving within this field, because the pandemic, it has impact on many different levels on people's, right, on society, but also the cultural sector and the artists. And we're going to talk to a few artists in the Zoom right now. How are they dealing with it all? How did it affect their work? What were they able to find gems within this and continue to create, or, needed the time to think? First, who I'm going to talk to is Yuri, and if correct, Yuri is in the chat. Are you there, Yuri Savalnyuk?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey.
Very good pronunciation. Thank you very much.
I'm doing good on the pronunciations today. You are an actor.
Yep.
And going right into it, back to that horrible first spring with the first lockdown. How did that affect you? What was your? How did you experience that?
We were on tour. We were on tour in the south of France, near Marseille, and I was on a train to go to Marseille, and there were some guy, my fellow actors, who were saying, "Oh, you should look the news because they will lock theaters."
Like what?
What do you mean lock theaters? Why they will lock theaters? Because of the COVID, because of all this stuff. No, it's not true. No, nobody will lock down theaters. It's not possible. And it never existed, this thing to lock down theaters. Even during the Second World War, theaters were open. So why they will lock theaters? So we were all really revolted by this news. And I wouldn't believe it. So we go to Marseille. We arrive at Marseille. There is the sunshine, there is the sea, there is all the people smiling, and we're like on the terrace of the cafe, we're drinking some pastis, and we're like, okay, we will play tonight, we will call the theater director, and we will tell him, we are the resistance, we will resist, we will play, and he tells us, sorry guys, but
it's
if
not
you
happening.
play, there will be police that will come and lock us all down, so no playing tonight, and we didn't play for like 2 months, 3 months. I don't remember how much time it was the first lockdown.
I think 3.
Yeah, 3 months almost.
Yeah, it was
2, 3, something like that.
3 months is like this. So first my reaction was like, wow, because my job is my passion, my way of life. It's theater, and theater it's making contact with people because it's only the only form of art where art is the present, because there is no, you cannot play 2 times the same.
The exact same. No, it's in that moment, and the audience is a part of that.
It is with the audience. It is with the public, and now we acknowledge that the COVID, this virus, it attacks precisely this contact.
Yes,
so
indeed.
If there is no contact, what I do? What can I do? And I didn't know what to do, so I did nothing during the first lockdown, or almost nothing, because I imagine you will ask me the second question, which is, what did I do precisely?
Yeah, no. Because
sorry.
I do know. I do know that, of course. At first, there's nothing. You're like, oh my God, I'm numb, and then you got to deal with that. But what we are also especially interested in is you did at a certain point find a gem within this thing, and that's what I want to like to hear a little bit about, because the English name for this project is In the Hollow of the Ear. Tell us a little bit about that, because that is very interesting to find a different way to connect with your audience.
Yes. So the French title is, maybe for French people, it's Au Creux de l'Oreille. Maybe you heard about it. It was it was initiated by Wajdi Mouawad, which is the director of the Théâtre de la Colline, with whom I am working. I worked with him like for 6 years, stuff like that. So one day he calls me and he says, "Look, dude, we thinking of some kind of poetical calls to people."
Poetic calls on the phone to people. On the phone,
yes. So it's really simple. Imagine you can connect yourself to the on the site of Théâtre de la Colline. You sign up for a rendezvous where you can choose from several hours, like I think it's from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. And you sign up, and then the artist of the Colline calls you and speaks to you. So usually it was, I need
the short version, because I want to talk to everybody.
Yeah, sorry.
No, we're going great, and I'm super excited, but in my excitement, I always go zoom in, and then I see the time, and I want to give everybody their time. So I would like for the people at home to grasp that indeed they can log in, give their thing, and get called by an actor like you. And what do you tell me? What do we talk about on the phone?
Well, it depends, because there was no obligation for the actors to choose a specifically
Topic.
poetry or specifically theater or specifically novel. They can choose anything. And me, my not my specialty, but almost it is poetry. So I call people and I say hello. Are you okay? Do you hear me? Are you ready to hear what I'm going to say you?
Yeah.
And then I was reading them some poetry.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Sounds very good.
And just for a little example, first we were like 20 actors, and in 1 week we made I think 150 calls. But then at the end of this program, we were 250 actors, and we made over 10,000 calls.
Wow.
Because in the end, we called Canada, USA, I think people from Amsterdam too. Every French-speaking person could sign up and hear some stuff. Yeah.
That is beautiful, because one thing indeed, because of this pandemic, the importance of art is really being exposed, where people sometimes thought and treated it as if it was a luxury. Art, it's a luxury. But you need it because we keep connecting. But as someone who knows, I think, everything about this, Isabelle, I hope I'm saying Malaise.
Right.
Yes, Isabelle, you are responsible for the international affairs of the cultural department of the city of Paris. Wow, that is a mouthful. And there are normally many art residencies in Paris, but because of the pandemic, they cannot come. What is? How do you now still find a way to get, to fill these residencies, or is that a stop?
Yes. First, thank you for inviting Paris, because our city lives by and for culture.
Yeah.
So welcoming foreign artists is a tradition in Paris, and it's part of our life and our cultural policies, which always pay attention to the creative possibilities offered by encounter with artists or masterpiece. We are fortunate because we have a central location, the Cité Internationale des Arts, which has 326 workshops with accommodation. That's the biggest place in the world.
Yeah.
And we have also other places, other residences in Paris, the Récollet Convent, and plus all the residences organized by the structure or foundations themselves. At the Cité Internationale des Arts, during the first lockdown, some artists left.
Yes, of course.
And also for different reasons stay or had to stay when, for example, the border of their country was closed. About 120 stayed. Structurally, it represented a significant financial loss for the structure, but at the same time, a whole collective life of creation and exhibition was out of the box, if I can say, was organized with real solidarity between artists. Of course, they offered online programs. And in some cases, I want to add that in some cases, when the artist grants came from the city, the Department of Cultural Affairs continued to pay for the accommodation.
Wow.
And now we have to imagine other programs so as not to increase the deficit of this structure and put them in difficulties. Knowing that international circulation will be limited for a few more months, I don't know exactly.
Yeah, we think.
The state has devised a program of short residency over 3 months from January to March for French or foreign artists already in residence in France or in Europe. And the call for application was very successful. We had to look at 102 applications last week. After this, we will see. But I'm still optimistic, and I'm happy to live and work in Paris in these conditions.
Nice. So there's good going on. And Laurence, you were also in Paris, and you actually have an exhibition there, but pandemic, so it's closed right now. But can you tell us a little bit about that in a nutshell, and when can we visit again?
Yes,
if
so,
we can?
well, actually, I was, even though there were signs, I was so excited and so, I was so happy after the opening of the exhibition. And I had the luck that it closed down after 2.5 weeks, so I had a bit of time to enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yet, even though it hit me, when I heard the news, I thought that can't be exactly like Yuri. You know, I thought no, that's not true. So I had really difficulties to give in. But then somehow, I very quickly, I think it took me about a day. Very quickly, I thought so that's it, and then we're going to do with that. But you know, I'm rather optimistic, and actually I'm so super happy that the director of the museum, Christophe Le Ribaud, the Musée du Petit Palais in Paris, proposed to prolongate the exhibition for the amount of time that it was closed. So I think I'm very, very lucky.
Yes.
So the museum is going to reopen together with the other ones on the 15th of December. And then it's going to be open until the end of February. So I don't feel, I think I'm rather privileged yet that...
yeah, indeed.
Yes.
But that's great. And another amazing artist we have in the chat, Mario Orzinet. And Mario is a drummer, composer, and he's also the musical director of Mon Kuti. And we have a short video to show you a little bit about Mon Kuti, and then I'm going to talk to Mario.
Elle avait les yeux verrons et le regard capiteux, un velours de peau charbon et la haine contre les amoureux. De sa bouche murmurait quelques noms d'un air malheureux. Elle buvait le poison que laisse l'amour aux malchanceux.
Hello, Mario. Thank you for joining us. Are you there in the chat?
I'm here. Thank you
Yes.
for inviting me.
Yes, we are very thankful that you want to join us here. So how are you doing during all these circumstances? And as the musical director of Mon Kuti, how's life going for you?
I'm feeling great. Obviously, I'm a little bit shocked by the events. And my life also artistically is kind of changing.
Yes.
But for me, that's interesting.
Yeah, because is that something that, does it create new ideas for you, or do you have to pause a little bit within all of this?
I think because of that strange situation, we don't know how music will be in the future, because
definitely
we don't know if we will have as gigs as before.
Yeah.
And also I noticed that maybe we will have to manage the digital thing on music more than before. So that period of lockdown, we are at home alone or with friends or family, and then we have to make music with other tools, like records more, doing live streams, share music with other musicians. I think that's interesting in that way.
Yeah, So we're being forced to have a different way of making music, the viral way. And speaking about the viral way, because you also won a prize from UNESCO for your campaign, Don't Go Viral. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so it's with the project, Afrobeat project named Les Frères Smith. So it's a Parisian project, and we made a new album next year, just before the lockdown.
Right before?
Right before, yes. And we were supposed to do the
promo tour?
Not the promo tour, to show this new album.
Oh, the release party.
The internet, the release party.
Yeah,
thank you. The release party during this lockdown. So it was kind of changing the program for us. But then we had this information of the campaign of UNESCO to make people in Africa informed on what is going on about the virus. And so, because the name of the album is Mutation, and we have also African artists as guests, like Seun Kuti in this album. So we thought it would be a good idea to join this campaign and participate to it. So that's why we made this little clip during lockdown, where every member of the group, and I make big up to everybody, see the video one day. We make a small video of us at home and then put all together and share it to the UNESCO program.
If correct, we have images from that, right? Or is it a different video?
No, that's the video
we have, because maybe this is indeed that new way of having to make music together, yes or no. But let's have a quick look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Seun Kuti, mon frère Smith. Voilà. You won't change my people, say no waiting. African people say no waiting. Everybody let me hear you say no waiting. If you want the good things, you must wait.
Yes. So indeed, maybe this is that new way of, keeping connected. And will this be a form of maybe even your new your next concert of Mon Kuti?
I don't know for Mon Kuti now, but because Mon Kuti and Les Frères Smith, two different projects. Yeah, that's his Les Frères Smith, and the first video was
the first video, Mon Kuti, and this is
this is Les Frères Smith. But we all the same. We know each other. It's a big family, Afrobeat family in Paris. It's big family, so no problem.
Big musical family. Please keep us updated. Stay healthy and keep making these great, beautiful projects together. I'm gonna see if I can, because we're going to the end of the program, right? And I'm very happy that we had a quick taste and inject in, okay, how is it going with the artists? How are we affecting each other? But what does this all say about how we as a society have been treating artists?
Sorry, can you repeat?
So, because the crisis, right? What does it say about the way we have been treating artists? Because now the importance of art is like, oh yes, indeed. Oh, these are the impacts. What does this say about the way we've been treating artists all the time? And if someone has an answer in a Zoom, please holler. Or if you want to react, please do. But I'm letting Laurence go first.
For that. No, I'm not the right person for that question.
Is there anybody who would like to give a feel of thought? was it say about the way we've been treating art and artists and people who add,
What do you think?
I think that idea of this being high art and certain things being which niche, the importance, and Mohammed said it, that everybody has that right to breathe it out, because it is very important. If we didn't make these programs to talk to each other, reach out, we would be really locked down sitting at home, and then you would implode. I think that it has been underestimated.
So you mean the essential nature of art as a helping people to feel well and to progress?
It helps you to process, to grow, to address stuff, to just relax, to just go blank, or just to think. So it's a lot of feeding ground in there. And
that's true. Yeah, with this, for instance, this revolution we had in France about the fact that the bookstores were closed and not considered the first necessity, or this discussion, what is first necessity or not?
Right?
I understand, yeah.
It is, and that's the thing, maybe. Acting as if artists and art and creating, being creative and exchanging creatively isn't a first necessity. It is. It absolutely is.
Sure, because now I enjoyed, for instance, so much discovering,
See?
So here we are.
Yes. Well, thank you. Did you enjoy yourself today? I think you did.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
It was a mini holiday.
Really?
Yes.
Do you already know when you're going? Are you going back for the 15th, for the reopening?
I won't, but I will go in January.
Okay, in January you're there.
Yes,
and then,
for sure.
Okay, and then are you staying then till the end?
No, I'm going to go, I think, twice, a few days in January, a few days before the end of the exhibition, to meet up with all my Dutch friends that I couldn't receive and show around, and I really look forward to take them in the exhibition. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Good luck for that.
Yeah,
Again, thank you for being here with me in the studio. Thank you, everybody who joined us on Zoom. Thank you so much for being a part of this show and the exchange and making a social impact in Paris of Infected Cities today. And of course, the viewers, thank you for being a part of the show on a digital way. Please stay tuned. Pakhuis de Zwijger has many beautiful programs. You can check it on the website. But also, next time we will go into infected cities, making social impacts we're going to Athene. So join us for the next one. Thank you again for being here today. My name is Jennifer, and peace out. Stay healthy.